So, Alex, let's talk about the confirmation hearings for William Barr to be Attorney General. He was there testifying this week. Did he allay the fears of Democrats that he was going to be too cozy with President Trump?
Well, I wouldn't put it that way. Some senators like California's Kamala Harris, who sits on the Judiciary Committee, expressed concerns following the hearing for things like the fact that William Barr wouldn't commit to recusing himself from overseeing the Russia investigation. But, you know, obviously that may be a position that Barr has to take because, as we know, President Trump isn't too happy about the fact that Attorney General Sessions did that. So that's one area where some Democrats have concern. Other more moderate Democrats feel that at least it's a good thing that Barr has some experience, seeing as he served as Attorney General in the past.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, that was one of the things I noticed. He was had this attitude of, you know, been there, done that, and I don't need this job, and I would quit and resign rather than do something that I felt was illegal. Did Democrats buy that line of reasoning?
Well, I think it depends on the Democrat, but I think some do feel that, you know, he is an independent person, has a long history and track record of public service, and that, you know, he really did express firmly multiple times that he would act independently and hasn't been asked to promise anything to President Trump, and that he wouldn't feel, you know, ethically comfortable with doing that or breaking the law in any way.
One of the things that you mentioned, the recusal issue, differentiates him from Jeff Sessions, who was the Attorney General whom President Trump did not like and regularly excoriated before he finally was fired. What other ways would Barr differ from Jeff Sessions, do you think?
Well, that was one area where lawmakers focused. Particularly, they wanted to know how William Barr would handle drug enforcement. For example, the issue of marijuana being legal in states but not under federal law. Some lawmakers wanted to know, would he, you know, use DOJ resources to go after businesses that are selling, whether it be recreational or medical marijuana, legally under state laws? That was something that a lot of people feared Jeff Sessions would do. Now, Barr said he wouldn't do that, but he also expressed that it's pretty troubling that these laws are so different across the country, and he thinks that state and federal laws kind of need to get on the same page. And then separately from that, but also on the issue of drugs, senators from both parties had some serious questions about how William Barr would handle the enforcement side when it comes to dealing with the opioid crisis. In fact, on the second day of the hearing, the president of the NAACP testified to the Senate Judiciary that he was very concerned because of Barr's track record in the 1990s when he was Attorney General of prosecuting low-level drug offenses, and he said that was something that led to the mass incarceration of minorities in this country. And in fact, Republican Utah Senator Mike Lee wanted a commitment from William Barr that Barr would in good faith execute the DOJ side of implementing the First Step Act. As you know, that's the recent prison reform bill that was just signed into law by President Trump that aims to lower those prison populations by offering, you know, rehab and job training and lowered, reduced prison sentences, again, for drug users or low-level drug offenders. And some lawmakers had serious concerns about whether William Barr is still kind of stuck in that old war on drugs mentality of wanting to punish rather than help people who are struggling with addiction.
Yeah, interesting. And one of the lines of questioning had to do with the release to the public or to the Congress of the special counsel's report. There were a lot of Democratic senators who were very concerned that the report would be submitted to the DOJ but never released to the public, and the public would never find out the results of that investigation. Where does that stand now?
Well, I found that to be a super interesting line of questioning because up until now what we had heard was that report would be publicly released, but according to what Barr testified to the Senate Judiciary is that the report, the special counsel's report, would go to him and then he would release, Barr, if confirmed as Attorney General, would release kind of his version of the report. And a lot of lawmakers, Democratic ones in particular, Kamala Harris again, were kind of troubled by that, because they're wondering, okay, if you're going to redact a bunch of stuff, are we going to get the chance to ask you at least, why it was redacted? Was it for classification reasons? And so that was something that I think some Democratic lawmakers weren't too happy about with his answers.
Sounds good. Well, Alexandra Limon from Washington, D.C., thanks a lot for your reporting. We appreciate it.